I see Nikita ends there. How are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good, thanks. Nice to be here.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah.
We've crossed paths before, I swear, but
We have, yeah. So I think a couple times potentially. Well, I think in Saskatoon, I was at Game Plan. I did a presentation there, but then also you and I worked on a little bit of like social media branding, yourself with Shelby Newkirk and such a few years ago.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
All right, let's rock and roll. We got quite a few people here lined up.
Sure.
So welcome everyone. I'm not sure if some people have their cameras on, some off, but I'm just gonna start off by introducing myself. I'm Bree Jedlick, and I have a couple hats, but I'm gonna introduce myself tonight as the Athlete Services Manager with the Canadian Sports Centre Saskatchewan. My other hat is, for some of you, as a mental performance consultant as well. But tonight we're inviting John Tokar in tonight to do an awesome workshop for our athletes on, the title is long, but understanding your why. And he is such an, like, when I met John a couple of years ago, I was so inspired by our coffee shop meeting. We connected with the Thunder. He works with a lot of great groups and he'll tell you a little bit more about that, but he's a great speaker. You will leave this session tonight very inspired, very informed. So I'm really excited to welcome John tonight to speak to our athletes and coaches, whoever's logged on here. So thank you, John, for your time tonight, and I'll let you take it away.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I think promising inspiration out of me is it's a bold promise. I hope to fulfill that here by the end, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, you know, Bree had reached out to me a little while back about putting on a quick presentation for you today about what I do. And you know, it's difficult. A lot of people always ask, like, what do you do? What do you do in sports? And what do you do with the Thunder? And all these things. And everyone always says I should have an elevator pitch, so I can tell everybody what I do in 30 seconds or less, or 10 seconds or less, or whatever. And I'll tell you right now, I don't have an elevator pitch. I can't tell you what I do in 10 seconds or less, or 30 seconds or less, or freaking 2 minutes or less, for you know, to be honest with you. But today, what I want to hopefully get across to you guys is that I'm going to try to explain to you some of the things that I've learned over the years through my development of working with athletes and working with sports programs. And a big thing that I've noticed and I've found while working with athletes is sometimes they get stuck. Sometimes they face a roadblock. Sometimes they don't know how to get past that plateau or become, you know, they're a good athlete, or how do I get to become a great athlete, or how do I get to become an elite athlete? So I've kind of worked out a little bit of a formula in my mind, in my brain, on how I believe that this happens. And working with athletic programs and working with athletes throughout the years, I've seen these steps be put into use and be successful. If we look at the success of the Thunder, I don't know how many of you follow the Thunder program, but we've had a steady increase of success over the years. And you know, last year or the year before last, playing in the PFC conference, losing to the Saskatoon Hilltops. Then the year after, we made it to the PFC conference final and we beat the Saskatoon Hilltops, moving on to the Canadian Bowl Championship and falling up a little bit short against the Okanagan Sun. But one thing that we've noticed is a steady progression of getting better over the years, and not just as a program, but also as individual athletes. We've had, you know, a number of athletes move on and play post-secondary in the collegiate level, but then also more athletes moving on and play in the pro level with the Riders and into the CFL. So it's not just about the program, but it's not also just about the athlete. It's about encompassing everyone involved and getting that program and getting the athlete better to become great. So I'm going to try to get that across to you today, and hopefully you take something away from this presentation. And by all means, reach out anytime afterwards too. I'll preface it that I've never given a presentation like this one before. So if I kind of pause or if I stumble on some things, that's because I'm not used to just doing presentations. I'm used to standing up on stage and just shooting from the hip and telling you guys what I know. But when it comes to trying to follow it off of slides, I might kind of buck a bit. So just bear with me. And well, if you don't like it, well, there's the leave button at the bottom corner for it too. So just kidding, please don't leave. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you, and then let's get rocking here. You know how it's always funny how you try to do the share your screen, and then it's like, oh, how do I do that? And you're like that high school teacher that's trying to figure out how to share their screen with everyone. Okay, what do you see now? Do you see the full presentation, or do you just see?
We are seeing your PowerPoint, but we're seeing your whole, whatever you're seeing on your screen right now.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured I would show, just to test you, to see if that was what I wanted. And it wasn't. Hold on. I'm gonna get it, I swear.
I'm actually loving this because this is my everyday struggle, is the technology. So
Right.
Thank you for being human.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, I had multiple PowerPoints up and going, so. Now what do you see?
We see exactly what you want us to see.
Okay.
Just your slide.
Let's hope it stays that way. Okay, so this was the title that Bree was talking about, a rather long title, the Unlocking Success, the Power of Your Why in Sport. So let's see if we could dig into this. And as we go along, I'm going to introduce myself, and hopefully you guys understand a little bit more about who I am and what I do. And then we'll get into the whole unlocking your why in sport. So first things first is, come on, what is that? Okay, there we go. So the clicker's a little behind. So my road to the show. So my entire life, I was always involved in sports, and I wanted to be an athlete. That was always me. And it was going to be hockey, or it was going to be baseball. It was going to be something. It was going to be me playing in the NHL is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be Patrick Waugh. Big reason I wanted to be Patrick Waugh is because he had Coho Revolution goalie equipment. And I remember I had a picture of Patrick Waugh on my wall as a kid. And I would look at it every night, and I'm like, I'm going to play in the NHL because I want Coho Revolution goalie equipment, just like Patrick Waugh. So my whole life, I'm like, NHL it is, hockey player it is, athlete it is. And I remember in high school, my high school football coach was always saying, why don't you come play football? You're never going to make it to the NHL. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good enough. I'm going to go. And he said, well, make me a promise. If you don't make this next team that I was trying out for, I believe it was the Pac Canadians or something at the time, will you come play football? So I said, yeah, I promised him that if I don't make this team, I'll come play football. And so, well, I made the promise. I went and tried out. And next thing you know, I'm playing football. I didn't make the team. So here I am. I'm playing football. Usher Unicorns, go Unicorns. That school closed down, unfortunately, soon after I left. I think they reached their max potential and then closed the doors afterwards. So had a good high school career playing football. From there, I was fortunate enough to go on and go to the university and play football there with the University of Regina Rams. Had a lot of fun. And then after playing football with the Rams, I was able to transfer down as a student athlete down to Minot State and played baseball with Minot State Beavers. Every time I show this picture to the Thunder athletes, I always make fun of my facial hair there. I had a chin strap. I guess those aren't cool anymore, but I would still wear it if it was cool. So after going to Minot State, it was cool because we got to travel around and go to big schools. We got, play at Florida, in Madison, Wisconsin, and University of Wisconsin, these huge 50,000 student schools. And I said, I want to go to a big school. So the biggest school around here was the U of S. And I then transferred to the U of S to finish off my college career. And one thing I really enjoyed about the U of S was the school itself, the city itself, but also the academic world of the U of S. I really enjoy, and I learned a lot at the U of S. One thing, I really got into a lot of like human development classes and psychology classes, and why the brain works the way it does, and what drives people, and what motivates people, and that would come back to help me in the future. So after my collegiate days, obviously, were over. I had, my years playing with the Rams, my years playing down at Minot State, and then I came back to Regina. Was coaching ball here in Regina in the Prairie Baseball League for a while, and then also coached football, high school football here in Regina with Balfour for I think 6-7 years. And then I was fortunate enough to move on and start coaching football here with the Regina Thunder. So yeah, awesome, great. I was doing sports. I was a sport guy. I was doing what I love. I didn't make it to the NHL, but I'm doing what I really enjoy and what I'm passionate about. And that was playing and being involved in sports. And I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, so like now what? Am I just gonna always be this sport guy? That's just what I'm good like, it's just good enough. And I remember one day I was scrolling through social media and I came across this post, and it said, someone once told me the definition of hell is that the last day on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have became. And to be completely honest with you, that scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God, like as of right now, I am just sport guy. What am I actually going to do with my life? And I knew that from my years at the U of S, I knew I kind of wanted to be involved in human development and what can empower people, and maybe become a life coach. I like motivating people. I like thinking about how we can get the best out of people. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to become a life coach. So I was like, yeah, life coach, let's do this. I'm going to go. So I'm like, oh, better get to work. So I poured myself into being a life coach for individuals, helping people succeed and helping people strive towards their greatest self. I took a bunch of schooling. I took a bunch of courses. International Coaching Federation. I took some online courses at Yale. I took Tony Robbins seminars, like all these things. And I'm like, I'm going to be a great life coach. I'm going to learn all these great things and be the best. So I have all this in my belt, my toolkit, and I'm like, I've got it. I'm trained up. I know what I'm doing. I'm the smartest man alive. Let's go change some lives. And one thing I quickly realized was that I could have all those pieces of paper in my pocket and all those months down in LA training with Tony Robbins, and no one cares. No one gives a shit. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I remember working with individuals, and I'd say, you got to do this, you got to do that, and saying, you got to change your life for this and change your life for that. And they're like, well, you don't really care. You're just doing this because this is what you were told to do from a book, or because this is what you learned at a leadership course. So that really kind of cut deep and got me thinking. And I kind of pumped the brakes on the whole life coach thing from then, and knew that I needed to do a little bit of soul searching. And I read a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And in there, one of the big quotes that he has is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So I thought to myself, like, well, maybe I got to turn around and look at why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. What's my why? Why did I go and take all that training that I did? Why did I pursue the things that I did in life? Why does it mean anything to me? And when I sat and did some soul searching and did some reading and did, looked into what I really want to get out of this world, came across this quote from Buckminster Fuller. And it says, what is my job on the planet? What is it that needs doing, that I know something about, that probably won't get done, probably won't happen unless I take responsibility for it? So I was thinking, what is my job on this planet? What is my job on the planet? What is it I know something about that I can do something about, but if I don't do it, it's probably never going to get done? What is that hidden thing that I could do? What is my job? Did some soul searching, did some thinking, and it brought me to the realization is that I truly believe that I am here to inspire people, that I'm here to inspire and make this world a better place along the way. And if you ask me my elevator pitch on who John Tokar is, that's John Tokar. I inspire and I make this world a better place along the way. One thing that I thought about after was, well, how am I going to do this? I need to think about what I have at my disposal. What have I learned? What do I have that potentially others don't have that can help me along the way? Well, I knew that I knew sports. I was an athlete for a long time. I knew that I played on a lot of teams. I knew that I've coached a lot. I knew that I love athletics and working with athletes, but I also knew that I knew leadership and leadership development and personal development. And I thought, what if there's a way that I can combine those two? So what did I want to do? I wanted to work with athletes. And why do I want to work with athletes? Is because athletes, in my mind, are like modern day superheroes. You know, they can run faster than everyone else. They can jump higher. They can swim faster. They always say that faster than a speeding bullet, or jump higher than a skyscraper, or be inspirational to people. And I thought to myself, you know, if I can use athletes to inspire the world, then what I need to do is make better people, because better people make better athletes. So if I can inspire athletes to reach their greatest potential and support athletes in doing that along the way, well, then the greater the athlete, then the greater the influence we can have on the world. And the greater the athlete, the greater the influence, the world is a better place because of it. So from there, I discovered my why. I started an organization called the Athletes Against Bullying Alliance. What Athletes Against Bullying did was we traveled across the country and we spoke at high schools, colleges, junior colleges about athletes using their influence in positive ways to not only just combat bullying and be anti-bullying, but also to make this world a better place along the way. I was able to work with a lot of great Olympic athletes, high performance athletes, extreme athletes, professional athletes. And one thing that I realized working with them is that after athletes are a lot of times after they break up from sport, I don't like to use the word retire from sport or move on from sport, because a lot of times when I talk with athletes, it's never an easy retirement. A lot of times it's a breakup, because nobody wants it to happen, and it feels like you broke up with a significant other in the process. So I partnered with a friend of mine and a mentor of mine out in Vancouver, and we started a program called Legacy After the Game. And what Legacy After the Game it's a program that a company that allowed athletes the resources, the education to transition from athletics into the quote unquote real world, and not just starting at the bottom, but also being able to start in a leadership role and to be able to be an influence in their community. So working with Legacy After the Game, I was able to share the stage with a lot of great athletes and inspirational athletes along the way. And that led me to where I am today, and working with my passion project of the Athlete Empowerment Project. With the Athlete Empowerment Project is what you see I do with the Thunder and with other athletes that I work with. And it allows me to educate athletes and inspire athletes and empower athletes to become that great athlete that they are. And by becoming that great athlete that they are, allowing them to make this world a better place along the way. One thing that after working with a lot of these programs, I've obviously been able to work with a lot of great professional programs, college programs, coaches, athletes, sports executives, and also some major corporations in leadership development and pursuing a greater culture and a greater business and a greater program all around. But the one thing that I want to say is that I'm not saying this to brag or to say that look at all these things I've done, look how awesome I am. It's tying into what we're here to talk about today, and is that what I've done and what I've accomplished and what I've been able to do, it didn't just happen by accident. I didn't just stumble into it and I created it. I created it by discovering what my why was, by doing some soul searching, discovering my why, and then setting my intentions to align with my goals. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So why am I here? Again, I'm here unlocking success, the power of your why in sports. So if we go back and we think, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what makes a great athlete great? We have the Tom Brady's of the world, or the Wayne Gretzky's of the world, or the Haley Wickenheisers of the world. What makes them so great? I wanted to know. So I dedicated myself to finding out. I researched them. I read a ton of books on the subject. I did a lot of outside the box research and thinking on what makes that great athlete great. And the one thing I found out is that it's complicated. It's complicated, and I really needed to break it down. I needed to break things down and get to the bottom of it, because obviously not every athlete is going to be great, and not every good athlete is going to be great. Not every great athlete is going to be elite. What was it? So what I found is that there's something special about these athletes. There's something special about these athletes that makes them great. And well, yeah, duh, like we get it. Obviously there's something special. One thing that we know is that when things get hard, most people quit. But the one thing that's special about these athletes is that when things get hard, they don't quit. There's something in them that drives them, that makes them not quit, that it has them keep going. There's something special. So I thought, well, what's special then? Like I want special. I want to be given special. So what is it? Give me it. How do I find it? How do I find out what special is? One thing that I do know is that it's more than just the whole, hey, they work hard. They're in the gym every day. They're training every day. They're eating well every day. It takes more than just the try hard and you'll get there mentality. I knew that there's a lot more layers to that onion. One thing about me is that I need to see something. I need to see the facts. Show me the proof. So if I can combine some facts with some science and some evidence, then I'm going to bite into it. But if you're just going to come at me with, hey, this is what I think might happen, or this is, I heard this happen, or anything like that, then I'm going to tell you to show me the Carfax, show me the proof. So what I'd like to do, and what I've thought about, is that, well, let's try to use some science. Let's try to find out some facts on how we can do this. So one thing that I learned is that we need to dig deep, and we need to peel back those layers. And after my years of looking at personal development, business development, life coaching, and then transitioning that into athlete development and finding out what those athletes have that is so special, I think I found it. I'm copywriting this right now. Nobody's stealing any of my ideas. I'll find you if you do, but I found the secret formula to success of athletes. I think I found it. And I'm just joking. What I've learned is that you give away your best stuff. You want people to be successful, and you want to make this world a better place. You give away your best stuff. So today I am giving you my best stuff. So I recommend we have a pen and paper ready for this, because we're going to have to take some notes. But if not, I can always send you some ideas also. But take some notes, because we're going to start doing some digging. It's a simple formula that I believe I've found, but I'll tell you right now, it's simple, but it's not easy. So I can tell you, yeah, this is how we do it, but it's going to take a shit ton of work on your part to get digging and to get learning and to do that soul searching, so that we can find out that secret ingredient, that's something special at the end. All right, so let's start. Let's get going here. So I'm going to have a sip of my Coke Zero. Extra healthy Coke Zero. Can you guys see my face, or just the slides? You can see my face, so you can still see Presley up here. Okay, perfect. She's the star of the show. All right. So first things first is we need to find passion. So let's write that down, passion. We need to find passion. But first, before we can find passion, we need to figure out what is passion. You know, you hear it on TV, you hear it in the movies, you hear everything. I'm passionate this, passion that. I'm passionate about something. So what I like to believe passion is that passion's that fire inside of you that makes you a little weird at times. You know, I think passion is that strong sense of emotion that you feel, that excitement that you feel when you're talking about something, or talking about what, you know, your interest, your excitement, your interest or love for something, that energy that it gives you, that wakes you up in the morning, that thing that jumps you out of bed in the morning. That's what I truly believe passion is. It involves a deep sense of dedication and commitment towards something. It's your reason for being so involved in that thing of yours. All right. So passion, a lot of times, again, it leads to a significant amount of time, effort, resources put into something. And again, makes it a little weird when you're talking about that thing that you're passionate about. You tend to blab on. You tend to get excited. Following your passion, it leads to that personal satisfaction, that fulfillment, and that greater sense of purpose and meaning in life. But how do we find passion? So we need to continue to peel back these layers. All right, so how are we going to find passion? Well, I'm going to try to use a little bit of science, whether you use science or math or whatever we have to call it. Let's look back at it. So first is that we need purpose. We need to find our purpose. And before we can find our purpose, we need to find what is purpose. So I like to believe that purpose is the reason, it's the motivation behind what you're doing. It's the reason, why do I care so much about this one thing? It's the motivation behind what you do. It's the actions that you take. It's the decisions that you make. I believe it's your existence. It's your reason for being. It's the, you know, I like to think of the underlying intentions of what drives you. What drives your thoughts and your behaviors and your actions. Your purpose is something that's going to give you direction. It's something that's going to give you meaning. You know, they say that your purpose is often aligned with your values and your goals, right? So your purpose, why does this mean so much to me? What is it about this one thing? Why do I care about this one thing? So there we go. We found purpose. Easy, right? Super simple. Next up, along with purpose, we have to find our personal meaning. So like other things before, we could find our personal meaning. We need to find out what personal meaning is. So I like to believe that personal meaning is the significance and value that you place on your existence. What gives you that feeling of fulfillment? What makes you feel fulfilled at the end of the day? What do you get out of this one thing that you're doing? So when we're putting our purpose into something, why does it mean so much to you? Our personal meaning is something that the value that we place on certain aspects of our lives, the value that we place on our experiences, on our existence, that deep sense of fulfillment that we get from our values and our beliefs, and the authenticity of us. This is us. This is why it means so much to me. The thing about personal meaning is that it goes beyond big houses and lots of money and fancy sports cars and such. And the personal meaning is you're feeling from the inside, and it focuses on the internal sense of fulfillment as opposed to the life fulfillment of the big things that we can hold in the material possessions. So from there, we found our personal meaning. What we need to do now is start putting some things together. So if we're going to combine our personal meaning and our purpose, and then boom, we have our passion. All right. So we've been writing down purpose, personal meaning in our whatever we want to write it down on. And underneath is where we're going to do some soul searching. And we need to find our purpose. We need to find our personal meaning. We add those two things together, and that's going to give us our passion. Our passion comes together when we can combine our purpose and personal meaning and create a deep sense of enthusiasm and excitement and dedication towards something. It gives us that meaning, that the strong sense of the passion is that deep emotional drive, that spark that ignites that fuel inside of us to get us out of bed in the morning, right? So we got to combine our purpose, that overarching reason of what motivates us, combined with our personal meaning of that. Why does it mean so much to us? What fulfillment am I getting out of this? Combine those two together, and we got our passion. Our passion is that spark that creates that fire inside of us. So there we go. Done. That was super simple. We're great athletes now. We can go take on the world and win Olympic gold. Remember what I said, it was a simple process, but it's not an easy process. So there's more work to do. Okay. So let's keep those pens and papers ready here. And we need more work to do, and let's keep going. So second thing that we're going to need is perseverance. Okay. Again, before we can get into before we can find perseverance, we need to figure out what perseverance is. So perseverance, I like to believe, is that persistence, that determination, the continued effort to face challenges and setbacks and obstacles along the way. This is our whole belief of, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep that fire inside of me burning, and not just burning, but I'm going to get it to burn brighter and brighter. So perseverance is, it's that steady, steadfast persistence, determination. It's the ability to maintain a strong and unwavering commitment towards a goal, even when faced with difficulties and adversity, and that temptation to give up. Persistence is what's going to keep us going. One big thing with persistence is that it requires the mental strength, the discipline to keep that positive mindset moving forward and to stay focused and motivated towards the goals that you have. We got to remember that persistence isn't just the fact of overcoming obstacles and overcoming setbacks or failures, but it's also the willingness to keep going when times get tough, and keep going when we've faced some setbacks and some obstacles and some failures along the way. Okay. So how do we find persistence? Same thing we did last time, right? So we're going to use a little bit of science. We're going to do some digging. We're going to add some things together. First thing that we need, if we're going to find some persistence, is we must have determination. So before we can find determination, we need to figure out what determination is. Determination, a firm resolve, an unwavering willpower, strong sense of purpose in pursuing a goal or objective. I didn't come up with that. That one I stole right off the internet. I wouldn't write like that. I wouldn't talk like that. So purpose or determination is it's that inner drive. Okay. And I know some of these things might seem like they're the same, but they're not. Trust me, they're very similar, but they're not the same. With determination, it's that drive and motivation that allows you to make and perform a consistent action. So we are going to be consistent, we're going to be determined, and we're going to keep going when we face obstacles, and we stay committed to our aspirations. It's that deep desire down inside again towards achieving something. I want something, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to be resilient to it. I'm going to overcome my challenges and setbacks, and I'm going to keep going. That's my fire inside. I'm determined to get there. It's the ability to keep going when things get harder. It's the ability to do that one extra rep at the end, that one extra lap around the track, or that one extra lap in the pool. It's the mental strength to say, I'm not going to give up or become discouraged. I'm determined to continue to keep going. All right. It's that high level of dedication towards something. And it's a willingness to make sacrifices, to achieve your desired outcomes. So also, I think with determination, be prepared to look at like you're a little insane. You are a little off because you're doing things that other people won't. You'll do that extra rap. You'll be in the pool at 5 a.m, or you'll be in the gym at 5 a.m, or you'll be working out on Friday nights when the rest of your friends are out on the town. So boom, we have our determination. All right. Next up, we're going to need resilience. So we have our determination, now resilience. What is resilience? Resilience, the ability to adapt, bounce back, and recover from challenges and adversity. Very similar to determination, but different, trust me. With resilience is the ability to be rocky, the ability to take that hit and to keep moving forward. The ability to withstand something that is always against me, that continues to beat me down and beat me back and give me those negative or those difficult experiences, and punch me in the face and hit me in the gut and kick me when I'm down. But it's the resilience that's going to allow you to maintain that positive outlook and to continue functioning despite the fact that you've just been punched in the face 100 times or you've been kicked when you're down. Resilience is going to allow you to cope with the setbacks. It's going to allow you to have that mindset that I can keep going. No matter what is against me, no matter what setbacks I've faced, I can keep going. It's your eternal optimism of moving forward. With resilience, you need the mental strength, you need the emotional strength, and the psychological strength to move forward, the ability, the flexibility to adapt to changes and to keep going. One thing to note is that resilience is not about avoiding the difficult situations. Resilience is a lot about leaning into the difficult situations, embracing the challenge, and knowing, having that optimism to know that, you know what, now that I've got punched in the face 50 times, next time I go out, I know that I can get punched in the face 51 times. All right. It's knowing that no matter what you've just faced, you can continue to adapt, you can evolve, you can be flexible, and you can embrace those challenges. All right. Awesome. So there we go. We found our resilience. So again, let's do a little bit of math. Hopefully it won't be too hard. So if we can add up our determination with our resilience, we're going to have our perseverance. Okay. So when we can have our perseverance, the quality of the persisting and continuing in our efforts as we face our challenges and our setbacks and our obstacles, driving stronger, driving forward, persevering, bouncing back when shit's hit the fan, having the mental strength and the capacity to be optimistic and determined to keep going, having the resilience to say that no matter what happened to me, I know that I can handle that and move forward, that's when we're going to have our perseverance. All right, so we have determination, resilience equals perseverance. But then you think, okay, but how do I find that something special that I was talking about earlier? So we can have our passion, our perseverance, but we need our something special. So we need that secret ingredient. But how do I find the secret ingredient if I keep searching for it? Well, I'm going to go back to my facts, my car facts. I'm going to use my science. What if we did use science again? Because you know what? You always hear about people that's like, oh, that guy's so passionate, or that athlete's so passionate, or she's got great determination, or she's got great perseverance, or, passion and perseverance and all these great things. They can make good athletes, but they're not going to make your great athletes. So let's keep going. Let's use more science, and let's just go mad scientist right now. Let's just start throwing stuff together and combining stuff. So let's combine what we have so far. I'm going to combine passion and perseverance. And if you read the book by Angela Duckworth about this subject, you're going to know we get grit. So passion plus perseverance equals grit. And this is from a great book by Angela Duckworth called Grit. Grit is going to be your secret ingredient when we can add all these things together. All right. So how do we find our grit? We got to figure out what is grit. So grit is going to be that something special. Grit's that something special that drives our individuals towards those long-term goals. Grit's that little something else when it's used in a combination of passion, is in the combination of passion and perseverance and our purpose, personal meaning, resilience, and determination. It's going to give us that something else. So when we can combine all those things, we found grit. The difference between grit and everything else that we've talked about is that grit isn't just a mindset. It isn't just something that I can just think, okay, I got to be gritty. Grit is a true belief in something. It is a belief so strong that it becomes part of your character. It becomes who you are. And it allows you to continue to push forward because that's just who you are. Now, when you have become a character full of grit, you're someone who wholeheartedly embraces a challenge. You embrace the setbacks because you think, now I get to get better. This challenge, this setback is an opportunity for me to become stronger and better and become a better athlete because of it. Grit is something that you can have a determined person and you can have a gritty person, and that gritty person will blow the determined person out of the water. You hear the whole story, the Will Smith quote where he says, if I get on a treadmill and you get on with me, you're getting off first or I will die on that treadmill. So that guy beside you, he could be determined to run for as long as he can, but Will Smith is willing to die before he gets off that treadmill, right? It's that something else. It's that something that's going to push you. The thing with grit is that it's that inner drive where it's so embedded in your character that the thought of quitting or the thought of failure, it's not even an option. It's not even in your mind. It doesn't exist. Failure and quitting doesn't exist when you have a grit mindset. It's the mindset that you are going to have a sustained effort, determination, and that willingness to endure all the challenges that lie ahead of you, all the setbacks that lie ahead of you, and you're going to succeed. You have the mindset that I'm going to succeed no matter what. That's where we found grit It's something else. So great. We found grit. That's our secret ingredient. We're good to go. Well, I'd like to say yes, but that's not it. We're so close. And this is where my secret sauce comes in. All right. A lot of the other stuff, I can get from books, and I can get from Angela Duckworth, great author, great book on grit. Other things, Legacy, about the New Zealand All Blacks, the Captain's Class, the Culture Code, all these great books that I've read. I can find all those in those books. But this one thing here is not written in any books until I write my book about it. And then you guys, I'll send you all an autographed copy on it. But we're close. Grit is not alone. So if we're going to continue to go with science and we're going to continue to put stuff together, well, let's go. Let's just go Dr. Frankenstein, and let's use some crazy science. And I have our grit, I have our perseverance, I have our passion, I have all these things. What else can I add to it? What can I add to that pot? Well, I want for a second to take a look back at what I talked about when I started. And that was Buckminster Fuller. What is my job on the planet? What is it that needs doing that I know something about that probably won't happen unless I take responsibility for it? What is my meaning to life? Why am I here? Why do I exist? When we can combine grit, that crazy son of a gun who doesn't know how to quit, that perseveres through absolutely everything, who failure is not an option, who will overcome any obstacle along the way and succeed and get to the end of the tunnel. If we can combine that with what is my job on this planet, with what is my meaning to life, that's something that we haven't had yet. That's something that not many people are going to be able to realize or focus in on. That's where we're going to find our why. Our why is when we can combine that badass son of a gun mixed with that person who has a meaning to life and a job on this planet, we're going to find our why. So remember at the start when I said that it's a simple formula, we've added a bunch of things together, but it's not an easy formula. This is going to take some soul searching. This is going to take time to sit down with a pen and a paper and go through a lot of ink or a lot of erasers and determine all those things: your passion, your perseverance, your determination, your meaning, your personal meaning, your purpose, your grit, combined with your meaning to life. You combine those two together and you're going to have your why. And I'll tell you right now, you put someone who is playing a sport with their why in their mind and in their heart and their soul, you're going to have a very, very difficult time with that athlete. That athlete has a lot to play for with that why. When you finally discover your why, everything that you do in athletics and in life in general and in what you're doing is going to be your compass, is going to be your true north. It's going to be your focus that can lead you on the way of where you're going. So once we have discovered our why, that's where we can sit down and we can find our true north. Who is the athlete that I want to be? How far do I really want this to go? And what do I want to be known for? This is where we're going to set our intentions. When we set our intentions, it's crucial that when we're setting our intentions, we write it down. Write down setting your intentions. Literally at the top, write intentions. And you can even write, make sure you're writing this down as you write it. Because the simple act of writing something down onto a piece of paper, now it becomes a thing, right? Up until now, up until before, you have your intention. It's just been a thought. This is what I want to accomplish. This is what I want to get out of it. When we take that thought and we have it from our brain, through our shoulder, through our arm, through our hand, through a pen and onto a piece of paper, now it's an actual thing. It's no longer just a thought in our head. And the act of doing it has profound impact and influence on the achievement of our goals. One thing that we always need to know is that we always have to have an intention when we are out there participating, when we are training. Each and every day, we write down our intentions. Each practice, we write down our intentions. Each training session, each game, each road trip, each time I'm on the bus, each time I'm in the hotel, we're constantly writing down our intentions on what we want to accomplish. A big thing is that we need to break it down. Break down your intentions and be specific. And a big part of it is after you write your intention, tell yourself why you're writing that intention down. I want to do X, Y, Z because of ABC. Again, the act of telling yourself why you are writing that intention down has a major impact on the intention. Write down the intention, tell yourself why you are writing down that intention. Set your intentions on getting better every single day. A big thing with intention is that there must be that deliberate focus on that something. What is that something? What is that one thing, two things, whatever that you want to get better at every single day, and set the deliberate focus on it. That way, when you're out in your training or you're out participating, you're out in a game or you're out of practice, and that the moment comes up where you have that, you wrote down that intention, then boom, it clicks. It clicks and you can focus your deliberate attention and your focus on that, on the, hey, this is my intention. This is what I want to get better at. One thing that we've got to remember with our intentions and our actions is that we focus on the progress. Don't focus on the absolute in attainment. We want to focus on the degree of attainment. Focus on getting better each and every day. So like I talk about with Thunder athletes, it could be as simple as I want to focus on catching the ball with my hands every time, catching the ball with my hands every time, or wrapping up and keeping my head up, or hitting at the hips. But if I catch the ball 10 times that day and I drop 9, well, that's okay. We're not pursuing an absolute attainment, because next day I have an opportunity to catch those 10 balls. Okay, so it's okay if we don't reach our absolute attainment. We're not focused on completing something entirely. We're focusing on getting better every single day with that one intention. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm getting better at. This is my focus, and I'm going to get better today at it. Embrace the challenge when we are writing our intentions. For me, I'm doing some Muay Thai training, kickboxing, and I suck at it. Like I'm not good at it at all. And one thing that I know is that I need to work on my kicks. I suck at kicking. And I find when I go out and I set my intention that I'm going to get better at kicking today, when I'm on the bag, I don't just punch. I don't just knee. I know in the back of my mind that my challenge in order for me to grow is going to be, I got to work on my kicks. So I work on my kicks when I'm there. Embrace the challenges. Don't shy away from a challenge, but embrace it. Grow. You're always going to want to grow and get better with our intentions. Focus on that. Focus on the thing that I want to get better at. Always stay focused on your intention. There's going to be times when you're in training, when you're at practice, when you're on the field, when you're in the pool, when you're out there, that your mind is going to drift. It's the way that our brains work. Our brains are going a million miles an hour. and they're constantly all over the map, and I'm looking up in the crowd and I'm looking at my teammates and I'm talking about this, and I'm in a drill and I completely forget what I'm doing. It's okay, but come back and focus on that intention. What did I intend to get better at today? I'm in a situation now where I can improve. Let's get back to it. Stay focused on your intention. Your mind's going to wander, but the good thing is that you can control your mind to come back and focus back on that intention for that day. We got to remember that when we have an athlete who has found out their why, who has determined why playing the game means so much to them, then you have an athlete who has an immense amount to play for. And the research shows, and the studies show, and the books I've read, and the teams I've worked with, and the athletes that I've worked with, is that the more you have to play for, then the better you will play. And to steal from Simon Sinek is that you don't care what you play, but you care why you play it. When you can have yourself with your why, and every time you go out there, you have an intention to play with your why, then you're going to play as your best athlete, and you're going to perform as the best athlete that you can. That is all I have for you today. Again, copyrighted, don't steal any of my work. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out and I'll be happy to answer. Write down my email address, my phone number. There's athleteempowermentproject.com. You can have a look at my website, and you can see all the things I brag about for myself and others that I work with. But if there's any questions now, I will take questions. But if not, okay.
I'll maybe just make a couple comments. John, thank you so much for that very passionate presentation. I wrote down all the notes, and will find great joy in doing my homework after this. I think I'm going to have to take up a lot of paper to work through that formula that you gave us, but a language that I think we're all very familiar with, those words of passion and purpose and determination and resilience and perseverance. I think we all know those words, and we work with them in our daily work lives and our training lives. But if there's a message I could say to our up and coming athletes, our developing athletes, and our elite athletes, as a former athlete like John, we're in the same category here, is this is the time to put in the work to do this kind of thing. It's not just the physical and the technical and the tactical. It's all this, the mental work that goes in that really pulls it all together. And John, you gave us a really great perspective on the recipe here for finding your why, and why you put in all the time and effort into the everyday and the hard work that goes into achieving our potential. So just thank you for the great message that you put forward there today. I think we did record it, so we'll put it up there for all our the other Canadian Sports Center athletes who weren't able to attend. But I would love to hear if anyone had any questions for John. Everyone has their cameras off, but you can turn on your microphone and ask anything. But from me, I just wanted to say thank you, John. That was really great.
You're very welcome. Hopefully it helped. And
there's a lot of really great athletes that are on this this call tonight. So I'm sure it would be really cool for you to hear from all of them, but they're all going to be super shy. I know it.
Oh, awesome. I hope that I can turn on CBC and see some of these names at the Olympics in the future, and then selfishly have a feeling that I helped you get there a bit.
Anyone have anything, or you can put it in the chat There's a couple thank yous to you there, John. There's a couple coaches on the call too. So that's nice to see. Merrick is in there. For those who are still on the line, we're going to follow up this session on understanding your why, figuring out your why, understanding it, with doing your personal branding and how that shows up on social media. So that's kind of our follow-up to John's presentation, which I think is a good segue. They'll marry very well together. So stay tuned for that.
I just see this note here. We can see your notes. Could you guys see my notes through the whole PowerPoint? Through the whole, oh, maybe that was just before. Okay. I thought I'd give away all my secrets.
Nope.
Awesome.
Well, I guess we'll sign off now. Thank you everyone for signing up and showing up tonight. And thank you, John, for your time.
You bet.
And I look forward to meeting everyone in person sometime soon. We'll do some in-person sessions. They won't all be virtual.